What if our lives are wrapped up with this idea of having this spiritual image on the outside, but something is missing on the inside? Our hearts are far off from God, and we're actually offering God an empty gift. And so as we look at this question, what would Jesus undo? He would definitely undo hollow worship, empty worship, or what Jesus is going to call in our passage, vain worship. When we're talking about hollow worship, we're talking about the sum total of our life and our heart's affection towards Jesus. And somehow and sometimes, man, we can get moving in life and we can do all these things on the outside with forgetting to bring our heart along with it. He's saying, I don't want you to just focus on the external things. I want you to understand that God's commands get to the heart of the issue. Their hearts, the things on the inside. Essentially what he's saying here is, man, traditions can become external, but God's truth is internal. Jesus is saying that we can obey traditions externally, say the right things, do the right things, go through the right motions, make it all look good. But if it isn't from our heart, if it isn't from the inside out, then Jesus is saying it's in vain or it's hollow. That word vain is interesting. In vain do they worship me. That word vain means fruitless, without results, futile. What Jesus is saying, when we worship him with empty words, when we worship him with just the way we say, but our hearts are far from God, it's fruitless, it's empty, it's void. It does no good. It's pointless. It just is talk. And true worship is coming to God and not only proclaiming the truth of God in the way we speak, but proclaiming the truth of God in the way we live. The way that we act towards one another. This is the rich and full worship that God desires. He's after our hearts. That we believe in him with our heart, that we love him from our heart, that we sing from our heart, that we give thanks from our heart, that we obey from our heart, that we give generously from our heart. Everything, if you read the New Testament and God, it's coming from the inside and pouring outward. That's the worship that he desires. Paul says this in 2 Corinthians, that we make it our aim to please God. We make it our aim. That doesn't mean that we're going to do it perfectly. We don't craft our own set of rules and lists in order to somehow follow him better. That's what the Pharisees did. But what Jesus is inviting his people to do is to come to him in their heart and then just say, my aim is to please him with the way I live. And the way that I express, I love. You remember what Jesus says is the second greatest command? He says, if you want to come to me, all the commands of God. If you want to follow the commands of God, not just follow the traditions of the traditions that we follow. If you want to follow actually and do the commands of God, you're going to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to love your neighbor as yourself. Because you're going to come with this heart that's aching for people and loving well. And we know what that means, right, church? It doesn't mean you say, yeah, I love him. Yeah, I love him. But that we actually follow what God's word says when it says that when we love somebody, that our love for them is patient, kind, not envious, not boastful or proud. Friends, if you're being rude to people, you're not loving them. Right? If you're keeping records of wrongs, you're not loving them. If you're like, well, they're because this, and they've hurt me this way and this way and this way, you're not loving them. You're holding up tradition, but you're not loving. And so you're not worshiping with your life. It's not delighting in evil, but rejoicing with the truth. It's always hoping, always trusting, always persevering, because that kind of love, friends, the love that God's inviting us to live out as holistic worship to him, never fails. Where's the knot in your life? when it comes to worship. Remember, we're not talking about music, we're talking about the sum total of our life, where you've settled for having a really good communication, but your heart's far from God in it. Or that you've elevated a thing over loving God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving people like you love yourself. Because wherever that piece is inside of all of you, and friends, I find it all up inside of me. So please don't hear me say, you guys don't have this figured out and I have it figured out. I find this up inside of myself. So I encourage you to do some examination, because that is the knot that Jesus wants to undo in our lives so that we look more like him, and so that our lives can flow and be more united in him. That's what worship is. It's not the flapping of our gums. It's the affection of our heart.